Express is running full steam ahead, derailing all the doubters along the way, knocking off Colorado State 74-61. Their third win in 3 days, advancing to the Mountain West Championship game for the first time since 2018. Welcome inside the Thomas & Mack Center, everybody. Jesse Kirsch, Terrence Oglesby, and Nate Kreckman here to talk about the Lobos, who are back in the Mountain West Championship game. But before we do so, let's go down to the court, join Bridget Howard. She's there with the winning coach once again. It's Richard Pitino.
Thanks, Jess. Coach, you said games in March are all about toughness. How did you see this group's toughness on full display from start to finish tonight?
Held them to 34% from the field. They're a terrific offensive team. We just battled our butts off. It's hard. 3 games in 3 days. Obviously, Colorado State did it. But just the high level of toughness that has grown in this tournament started with Air Force, played great, and then Boise, and then now.
You forced 14 turnovers against a team that rarely turns the ball over. How was your defense able to cause so many problems for the Rams offensively tonight?
Active hands, aggressiveness, attacking the ball, covering for each other, doing a great job of keeping the ball out of the paint and then scrambling.
JT Toppin has 2 points yesterday, 16 points today. How did you see him just assert his dominance in every area today?
Some phenomenal offensive rebounds when we needed him to. Just has a way of making great shots around the rim. The ball dies in the basket, and he's only a freshman.
It's scary to think about, Coach. All right, last one for you. First Mountain West Championship game appearance for the Lobos since 2018. What do you like about your chances with this group of guys?
I think we're playing with a high level of confidence right now. Sometimes people can get tight this time of year. I think our guys are playing loose. They're playing confident.
A lot of fun to watch. Coach, congratulations. We will see you in the champ game tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Back to you, Jess.
I say they're playing possessed. This team is on a mission. They played with their hair on fire early, T.O.
They really did. And the thing is they're so hard to prepare for because you're never allowed to get comfortable. Colorado State today, they needed Isaiah Stevens to be an isolation playmaker, a pick-and-roll playmaker. He just couldn't get out of the blocks today. And the fact of the matter is, anytime that they get beat, the next guy just pops right up. I can't emphasize enough how difficult it is to play against a team like the Lobos because, quite frankly, you can never really get any kind of rhythm or flow.
The pace that they play with, how intense they are defensively, plus they started this game on an 11-0 run. They took the Colorado State fans completely out of the building, and their crowd carried them all the way through with the kind of energy that they play with. Third game in 3 days, you need that spark, and they got it, and they made it for themselves tonight.
They've got veteran leadership, but they got one of the best freshmen in America, JT Toppin. He's down courtside with Bridge.
Thanks so much, Jess. JT, yesterday you had 2 points. Today you have 16 points and 9 rebounds. Where did you feel like you were able to take advantage of the Rams the most today?
I knew I was going to have to get on the boards and just seal. Sealing was my main thing, so I could seal. And if they played too much, go for the layup. And yesterday, 2 points. That wasn't the way I was going to help my team win. I was going to help my team win by rebounding. So I just did just that.
It feels like this group is firing on all cylinders and everything is working right now when it matters most. Does this group feel like we're seeing the best Lobo basketball right now?
Yeah, our thing is we just got to play together. Play tough, and stay together the whole game and execute. And we did just that in both games.
What is this Lobos team trying to prove right now?
We're trying to prove that we could be in the big dance and that we could be with anybody. So we're trying to do that. We're going to do that tomorrow.
In your first year as a Lobo, you've already accomplished so much, but now you get the opportunity to play for a Mountain West championship. A smile on your face when you hear that. What excites you about that opportunity with this group of guys?
It's amazing. I always wanted to do it with this group of guys. We just needed that chemistry, and yeah, it's exciting. I love these guys.
Well, you guys are certainly fun to watch right now, JT. We will see you tomorrow in the championship.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Back to you, Jess.
There's JT Toppin, freshman of the year in the Mountain West. Goes for 16 and 9. This is the guy that leads the Mountain West in field goal percentage, in rebounds, and blocks. Did it all, and boy, he was good in the paint here today.
You know, he talked about getting that seal, and I thought that was a huge part of his game tonight. Their guards did a great job of getting him the ball where he could turn and he could score pretty easily. He used his length, his strength, his size, his athleticism tonight to be able to get himself right in front of the rim, plus on the defensive NTO, he added 3 blocks.
Well, it says everything right there on that shot chart where he functions his best, and it's inside of 8 feet. And here's the thing, it's a continuous seal. When that ball swings, he doesn't get that first look. It's these elongated possessions where he continues to work within the half court. And what ends up happening is he's not always going to be the guy that scores. There were several times today they would have designed seals for him to duck in, and he would open up a right-hand layup for Donovan Dent, especially over the last 8 to 9 minutes of this ball game. I thought the game plan was perfect for what they were going against. His athleticism is elite level, NBA level athleticism around the rim.
Let's talk about that game, Ben, because I think you're exactly right. New Mexico comes out of the locker room to start this game a frenetic pace. They forced Colorado State into uncharacteristic mistakes. 3 turnovers early, that 11-0 run, what Richard Pitino drew up in the locker room, Nate, set the tone for this game, the pace for this game, one that the Rams could never dig themselves out of, really.
No, they really weren't able to, and they were able to get themselves out on the break. 9 blocks, 6 steals in this game today for the Lobos. You look down the fast break points, they had 11 of them in this game. That's Jalen House. He's the NCAA's active steals leader right there. That is his game. It's getting deflections and getting out on the run. 14 turnovers today for Colorado State. That's just not their game. Now, guys, let's be honest. Isaiah Stevens was not 100% in this game. They talked about it on the CBS telecast. He was dealing with a calf strain. It was pretty evident to anyone that was watching. He was playing through some discomfort. Let's give Isaiah Stevens a bunch of credit. Dude's a warrior. He went for 11 points in the second half. He hit his first 4 shots of the second half after a really slow start in this game, but he was never 100%. And quite frankly, I think that New Mexico backcourt led by Jalen House, they just smelled blood in the water.
Yeah, they certainly did. And you want to talk about a defensive performance that was elite level. And it wasn't just the 6 steals that you referred to that gets them out on the break. Some of these block shots, guys, that they have over the course of the game, they'll block them out to the perimeter, and then they're off to the races that way too. They have so many ways to get out in transition. And not only that, they have 2 elite decision makers in transition. Jalen House, as crazy and wild as he plays at times, is really good in that aspect. And Donovan Dent, what sets them apart and makes them different going towards the end of this thing is they have a half-court decision maker in Donovan Dent, and they have a lightning rod scorer in Jalen House. And what he was able to do today, his change of pace, change of direction, those were shots at the beginning of this game. He was terrific, and these are high degrees of difficulty, and he attacks you for the entirety of the 40 minutes. Active hands, active body. He scrambles better than anybody. That's the key to this New Mexico team. They're out of position constantly, but they are in a constant state of fix-it because they were always able to scramble and get back in some of these defensive possessions.
Jalen House going for 19 on the heels of that 29-point effort, which was the season high last night against Boise State. And then Donovan Dent goes for 7 here today. Let's talk about the guards. I mean, as a whole, guys, you hear all the time from those who are much smarter than I, guards win in March. Guards win in the NCAA tournament. They are loaded at that position.
Yeah, talented guards and athletic bigs, and New Mexico has both of them.
Yeah, and I thought it gave Colorado State problems in this game, really on both ends of the floor. By the way, Donovan Dent had 6 assists in this game as well, so a little bit of a quieter scoring game. You see what an elite finisher he is at the rim, but he had 6 assists in this game. I thought that New Mexico was able to get Colorado State out of sorts in this game. Really, you take a look at the bigs for New Mexico. They're more athletic than the bigs for Colorado State, and you stack on top of that those guards. They sped up CSU. They made Colorado State play frantic tonight, and you don't see that very often out of CSU.
Yeah, these 2 guys right here, they're making everybody better. Combined for 14 assists tonight, and a guy like Jamal Baker Jr., he has to have shots facilitated for him. He can't create on his own. A guy like Mustafa Amzil, who has been good at times creating shots, but he's much more comfortable playing around the perimeter. These 2 guys are what makes this New Mexico Lobos team different.
And let's, by the way, give some credit to the old man, Jamal Baker, out there tonight. Hit a couple of threes in this game, and they were big shots. It was every time Colorado State was able to chip in the slightest bit, get it back to single digits. It felt like Jamal Baker, both of his threes were huge tonight.
Huge, and considering the fact that I'm pretty 85% sure he's my age.
Just about. He is the second oldest player in Division I basketball. Played 7 years. Of course, he played at Arizona, played at Fresno State. We've known him for a long time. Hit 3 threes in the win against Boise State. Hit a couple here today. So Baker chipping in when he's needed the most off the bench for the Lobos.
He has played in an Elite Eight before in his career back when he was at Kentucky a few schools ago. But still, Jamal Baker, he knows what to do at this time of year. He was timely tonight, and he plays with the kind of composure that you need. Jamal Mashburn has been struggling, let's be honest. He missed the Utah State game at the end of the regular season with flu-like symptoms. Really didn't get the shot going last night against Boise State. Didn't do it tonight either. Jamal Baker kind of filling in those scoring gaps a little bit. Yes, this was a Jalen House and JT Toppin game. Amsil hit some big-time shots, but Jamal Baker, timely buckets tonight.
One of the good things about having an older guy, too, is they're done trying to prove themselves. So he allows the game to come to him. He doesn't try to exert himself, try to force the issue. And as a result, Jamal Baker Jr., he lets that game come to him. Every one of those shots were open looks, and they were created by House and Dent.
Yeah, knows exactly what his role is on this team. He's a spot-up shooter.
Yeah, leadership and being a glue guy, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's not about me. It's about we, and Baker certainly has been that for the Lobos. Nate, you identified a stretch in the second half, early in the second half, that kind of was a microcosm of this entire game. It came around the 17-minute mark. Colorado State couldn't buy a bucket, but it was because of the closeouts and the rim protection of New Mexico.
It's JT Toppin protecting the rim. It's Colorado State playing frantically. Tavy Jackson forcing a shot right there. And again, that's just shooting out of rhythm. Josiah Strong, a bad look at the end of that possession. Like Colorado State, yes, through deflections and tips, they were creating extra opportunities. New Mexico never bit to get a layup at the other end.
And the cold shooting for Colorado State really, in my opinion, led to some of New Mexico's success because it allowed them to get out in transition. When Colorado State hit a shot, it slowed New Mexico down, and all of a sudden Colorado State was able to close that first half gap, tied it up briefly. But when New Mexico was able to get out in transition off of missed Colorado State buckets, boy, they were deadly.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see this game tomorrow, guys. It's going to be it's going to be an electric factory in here. But you have two elite defenses in my mind that do it completely differently.
Yeah.
And San Diego State physicality, positioning, they know where they're going to be constantly. They're on a rope rather, to where guys know where they're going to be, and as soon as there's a penetration, guys stop and they rotate correctly. New Mexico doesn't operate that way. It's a lot different. It's flying to the ball. If we make a mistake, that's fine. Let's hurry up and fix it, and that's what makes them so difficult to play against. This is going to be an intriguing matchup tomorrow, and I'm not sure how many points are going to be scored, but it could go one of two ways.
Tio, this is the toughest turnaround in college basketball.
Yeah.
You play this late game here on the West Coast. It's, what time do we got here? We're nearly midnight here locally. You're tipping off at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, okay? It's not as though San Diego State is getting a massive rest, but they get a few hours head start on you. Plus, San Diego State has played one fewer game this week.
Yeah.
New Mexico is the first team ever to go to the title game that played in the first round of the Mountain West tournament. Man, those Lobo fans, they're going to have to dig deep to fire their guys up tomorrow. You know Jalen House is going to bring it. There's absolutely no question about that. Let's see what the rest of the Lobos got tomorrow, because this is a massive challenge in front of them.
It certainly is. In 2 games, neither one of them were decided in single digits.
Yep.
So 11 points and 18 points both ways. And it's going to be a really fun game to watch. How does New Mexico handle Jaden Ledee? How does San Diego State handle the frenetic pace? It's going to be a great game to watch, an exciting game to watch.
Clash of styles, to be sure. Let's take a look at the final numbers from this game. New Mexico topping Colorado State. What jumps off to you there, Terrence?
Right away, 3-point percentage. And whenever you're playing the Lobos, they're going to give you a half second to get a shot off. But the problem is, if you're not hitting those shots, they're off to the races, and they're going to run no matter what. And some of these rebounds are long rebounds, and what ends up happening is it just expedites that transition offense, and that's what sticks out the most.
CSU was 6 of 28 from behind the arc tonight. They never were able to get it going. Joe Palmer hit a couple of big shots in this game tonight, a couple of threes. He had a great Mountain West tournament. Unfortunately, Nobody else was really along for the ride tonight for CSU. Isaiah Stevens battled, just wasn't enough for the Rams.
All right, so where are we headed here? NCAA Tournament Selection Sunday is just about, 36 hours away,
Ish.
give or take. Our tremendous crew here in Las Vegas has an up-to-date bracketology. This is up to the minute right now for these teams, and New Mexico starting to squeak in some of those haters who had them out. Where are we at here, Nate?
Well, right now, New Mexico tonight got their 5th Quad 1 victory of the season. They've won 3 games here in the Mountain West Tournament. They got San Diego State tomorrow. Now, obviously, winning, you're in. We know that. An opportunity to get an automatic bid. It's going to be tough tomorrow against San Diego State. There is no doubt about it. It was so interesting last night, Richard Pitino, after they got that victory against Boise State, and Pitino said, we just punched our ticket. Well, the bracketologists haven't really gone along with them on that. They're very much still sort of teetering here on the edge. Plus, guys, you got to remember there's funky other things going on around the country. The ACC has gotten goofy. The Atlantic 10 has gotten a little bit weird here. Some bids are getting stolen around the country right now, so it makes it tougher, a little bit tighter for a bubble team like New Mexico. They're 23 in the net, though.
And another quad win.
It
that
makes
is
sense.
updated there.
It only makes sense. And here's the thing, Pac-12 now going to have 3 teams in because neither Washington State or Arizona are going to be playing in the championship game. 1 bid stolen. ACC has NC State playing in. If they win that, that's another bid stolen. They weren't going to make the tournament. So you have to keep in mind some of these other things too. But, guys, I'm going to be honest. I think New Mexico, after this win right here, Joe Lunardi's gone to bed a long time ago. He sleeps.
Wake up, Joe.
Hey, Joe sleeps before May. So, let's keep that in mind, too. I think this moves them up. I really do think that New Mexico, even if they lose tomorrow, isn't that large team.
Well, there is one surefire way to get into the NCAA tournament, and that is win a Mountain West championship, something the Lobos haven't done since 2014. There's some great runs there for the Lobos. They'd love to get it done tomorrow, be on big CBS, San Diego State and New Mexico, number 5 and number 6. Fun fact, these 2 teams have met 3 times before in the Mountain West Championship. New Mexico won in 2012, 2014. San Diego State got revenge in 2018.
Look at that, a 5 and a 6 in the Mountain West title game, which is absolutely wild. By the way, one more note, shout out to our buddy Jeff Grammer of the Albuquerque Journal for giving us this one. In Mountain West history, 2 players have been Mountain West Freshman of the Week 9 times. Both of them have played in a Mountain West title game. That was Tyson Degenhart in 22, now JT Toppin this year. Degenhart won it a couple of years ago with Boise State. Let's find out if JT Toppin can do it as well.
Bam! There you go. Nate Kreckman, Jeff Grammer. So where have we been?
Useless note of the day.